Good afternoon, Bhante.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
everyone. Yeah, good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon, Bhante.
brothers
Yes, good afternoon.
and
Good
sisters in the
afternoon. Yes,
Dhamma.
yes. Yes.
A very warm welcome to Ti-Sarana Buddhist Association Cultivation Program. We are so blessed to have Venerable Dr. Chandawimala to conduct the Dhamma talk series on right understanding of Buddha's teachings this afternoon. Before we start the session, let us begin the Vassāvāsa cultivation by paying homage to the Buddha, taking the three refuges and the five precepts. May we have Bhante to lead us? Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, please recite Namo Tassa 3 times.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Dhammang saranang gacchāmi.
Sanghaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Sanghang saranang gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi dhammaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchāmi.
Pānātipātā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi.
Pānātipāta veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Adinādāna vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi.
Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Kāmesu miccācara vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi.
Kāmesu micchācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Suramēraya majjapamādattāna vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi.
Suramiraya majjapamādattāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sādhu, sādhu, sādhu. Venerable Dr. Chandawimala received his higher ordination in 1989. Bhante graduated with honors degree in Buddhist philosophy in 1994 and Master's Arts in 1997 from the University of Kalaniya in Sri Lanka. Venerable Dr. Chandawimala holds a diploma in education from the University of Colombo. He also holds Masters of Arts and a doctorate degree in Buddhist studies from the University of Hong Kong. Venerable Dr. Chandawimala currently serves as an associate professor at the Buddhist College of Singapore at Kong Meng San Pak Kasi Monastery. This Dhamma talk series by Venerable Dr. Chandawimala is conducted every Sunday from 25th July until 17 October 2021, both dates inclusive. Today, Bhante will be sharing on the topic on Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta from Samyutta Nikaya, Link Discourses 56, number 11. May we now invite Venerable Dr. Chandawimala to begin. Over to you, Bhante. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Brother Chintaka. Okay. Good afternoon, dear friends. So again, we come back on this Sunday to have our Dhamma talk. So today, as Brother Chintaka explained in his introduction, you all know that we are going to discuss about the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. The Sutta, which is called in English, turning the wheel of the Dhamma. The turning the wheel of the Dhamma. This is the most familiar or most popular term, this title for this sutta in English. So I welcome you all for this talk. And today, at the end of the talk, we can have a Q&A session. I hope that today I will be able to finish the talk in time, right? All right. You can look at the name of the sutta on the screen. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Actually, this is the original Pali name of the sutta or the title of the sutta in Pali. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. When we pronounce this name according to Sanskrit language or the Sanskrit title, we pronounce it like this: Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. You see, the Dhamma has become Dharma, only one M with A. Dharma. Chakra is, there are double K in the word chakra. Here again, instead of one K, we have R there. Then Dharma Chakra. And Pravartana, instead of Pavattana, we have Pravartana, right? And so in this way, always R, and also with the, there are two R over there in the Pravartana, and in the Sutra also one R. So many, R's there instead of the M, and also K, and also one P, and also one T, and also again one T. So in this way, the Sanskrit style is a little bit different from the Pali style, but basically, actually, even in the academic world and also in the common Buddhist world, we rarely use this term, the Sanskrit title, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So most of the time we use the Pali name, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. This is the most used name for this sutta, the Pali one. Something like Mettā. Mettā, you know, loving kindness. Maitri is the Sanskrit term, but Pali term is more popular in the world more than Maitri, right? So that is why we use the term Mettā. In the same way, for the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, also we use the Pali word more than the Sanskrit word. Now, you all know that this is the very first discourse of the Buddha delivered to the 5 ascetics. We can go to that part later. Before that, I want you to be familiar with this term. What is this Dhammacakkappavattana? Right? So, Dhammacakka means you already know that it is the Dharma wheel or Dhamma wheel, or we can call the wheel of the Dhamma. Chakka means the wheel, Chakka, right? Dhamma you already know, so when we bring these 2 words together, we call it Dhammacakka. The next word is very important for all of you. Actually, there is one Pali verb. In Pali language, there is a verb which is called pavattati. Pavattati. This term pavattati, that means to move on or go forward or to proceed or to go on. So these are the meaning of this word pavattati. And this Pali verb, actually it becomes an adjective when we use the word pavattana. Pavattana. So the verb it can be, you know, converted into an adjective in this way as pavattana. That means moving forward. That is the adjective of pavattati. So this is a very important word. That means actually even in Sri Lanka, some people misunderstand this word. Pavattati means they think that it is to give a talk, something like that. But here, it is not like exactly giving a talk, but to start to move something forward. What the Buddha started to move forward, the wheel of the Dhamma, the wheel of the Dhamma. So that is why you find most of the translations of the Dhammacakka Sutta to English, different words, but all these words has the meaning of setting in motion or setting in rolling, or you know, the foundation of the Dhamma wheel. That means to start to move. And in this way, all these translations of the Dhammacakkappavattana, the Pali title into English, all have this similar meaning. That means to start to move or turn it to moving or to move forward, something like that. So you can see different the titles, I mean the English titles given to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Quite interesting. There is no sutta like this having so many the titles for its Pali name. Here we will see the first one, setting in motion the wheel of the Dhamma. So this title is given by Bhikkhu Bodhi, right? Bhikkhu Bodhi is in his connected discourses, Samyutta Nikaya, so he has given that title, right? Setting in motion the wheel of the Dhamma. Because the wheel of Dhamma, that means after the Buddha realized the Dhamma, and this Dhamma still was with only, it was with the Buddha, and it had not been delivered to someone else yet. So for the first time, Buddha started to deliver this teaching. Buddha's teaching, actually, his understanding of the truths with the deliverance of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta as its first Dhamma talk or the discourse. And the next title, Setting Rolling the Wheel of Truth. See here, instead of the Dhamma, in this translation, you find the word truth, right? Truth. Setting rolling, to let it to roll or go move forward, the wheel of truth. And the next one, the setting rolling of the wheel of the norm. Now you see, instead of Dhamma, the second title had the word truth, but here norm, phenomena, something. Actually, that is also the Dhamma. And number 4, turning the wheel of the Dhamma. This word is actually this, what we call this phrase or this title is commonly used by many people. Turning the wheel of the Dhamma. Turning the wheel of Dhamma. When I was very young, maybe something like in my, not that very, very young, maybe around my 18, 19 years when I was. And I got Venerable Narada's translation, Venerable Bhikkhu Narada's translation. And then I remember at that time, I learned this title, Turning the Wheel of the Dhamma. Turning the Wheel of the Dhamma. And the next one, the foundation of the kingdom of righteousness. So this title is very much different from the other 4 titles that we discussed earlier, right? The foundation of the kingdom of righteousness. That the kingdom of righteousness means actually the world of the Buddha's teaching. The world of Buddha's teaching. That means Buddha's teaching itself. It's like a kingdom of righteousness. And the foundation means here starting. So starting the Buddha's kingdom of Dhamma, actually. Buddha's kingdom of Dhamma, starting. Oh, yes. It is the time to open the Buddha's kingdom of Dhamma. If we take it as a kingdom or a city, it's the opening ceremony for this city. Quite interesting, right? And now we will go to the next title, the foundation of the kingdom of the norm. Now again, this term norm comes here with that title. Yeah? And all the other part, the first part is the same as the number 5, title number 5. Here, the foundation of the kingdom of the norm. Norm here means the Dhamma. Now, next title, the formula of the revolution of the wheel of experience. That is somewhat different from the other titles. The formula of the revolution of the wheel of experience, right? Here the wheel of experience, actually it is the wheel of the Dhamma, wheel of the Dhamma. What the Buddha experienced was the true Dhamma, right? Or the truths. So it is called the revolution of the wheel of experience, right? So it's a formula, like a special formula, formulas. You have formulas for various things, in the mathematics you have formulas, right? In the grammar you have formulas. In the logic, right, you have formulas. In the same way, this is a very important term. The use in this title. It is like a something, set up thing. So because Dhamma is always within a special frame, right? So this is the time for the Buddha to start this his experience of the Dhamma for the first time as a revolution, something which was not there in the religious background of India in the 6th century BC or before that. Okay, the last one, discourse on the wheel of truth. The discourse you already know, the sutta, the wheel of truth. That means wheel of the Dhamma. So in that way, there are various titles to given to indicate the sutta, the very first sutta of the Buddha. Now, actually, we do not have so much time to explain all the things what the Buddha, I mean, as an ascetic, what he did for the 6 years. Some people think that Buddha, for the 6 years of his, his investigation period of the Dhamma. So people thought that he was under the Bodhi tree and practiced, this asceticism or ascetic or severe ascetic practices for 6 years. Actually, it was not. If you read the Mahāthera Sutta, the great sutta of lion's straw in the Majjhima Nikaya, so you can see what really the ascetic Siddhartha did within these 6 years, actually practicing the the self-mortification of this rigorous ascetic practice. It was limited only to a certain period. Not throughout the 6 years, the Prince Siddhartha or this ascetic Siddhartha practiced the self-mortification. However, it is a very long story. After 6 years of the various type of practices, I mean, which were prevailing in the 6th century BC, during the Buddha's time. Actually, he practiced so many methods, and finally, he understood that actually the giving, modification or practicing self-modification or suffering this body is not the way to realize the truth, or gratifying the senses also not the way to realize the truth. So he entered the middle path. We will discuss it later. Entered the middle path, and without approaching to these two extremes, and then with practice of meditation, and finally he attained the supreme enlightenment, Samma Sambuddha status, supreme enlightenment or full enlightenment. After attainment of the full enlightenment, the Buddha wanted to teach the Dhamma, right? And then he looked for the people who can really grasp his teaching when he, delivered this Dhamma. Because the Buddha understood that this is very difficult, something very profound to understand. It cannot be understood by the common people who attach to everyday sensual desire, or people with greed, hatred, and delusion, those who have dust in their eyes. So this pure Dhamma cannot be seen or realized by the people who are with dust or defilements. So Buddha wanted to check or he wanted to search for who are the more, the wise and more suitable people to deliver his first Dhamma, right? And this story is very long, so I cannot give all the details. And finally, this idea came to him because while he was practicing this self-mortification, especially this extreme ascetic practices, there were 5, ascetics. We call in Pali, Panchavagya Bhikkhu. Panchavagya Bhikkhu. 5, the group of 5 ascetics, right? Group of 5 ascetics. So the Buddha actually then decided to find them. Actually, his former friends who attended him while he was practicing self-mortification. And then he knew that actually they are living in the Isipathana, in the one of the forest area, which is called Isipathana, in the city of Varanasi. In Pali, we call Varanasi. In the Sutta, you remember, you recite Varanasiyam Viharati Isipatani Nigadari. Remember? Yes. So these 5 ascetics, they were living in the deer park of this Isipatana in the Varanasi. Isipatana is a very important title. So Isi means actually the sages, or the monks or ascetics. Patana means to fall. So it was the place where the sages fell down. Actually here, fell down or to fall means not go there and fell down. That means the sages from different parts of India come to that place to practice meditation. So it is called Isipatana, where the Isis or the sages come and fall. That means where they come and live and practice, right? So that is why it is called Isipatana. And Migadaya is the place where the deers got freedom, right? Deers got freedom. That means they got, we call it Abhedana. They got Abhedana. That means it was a deer sanctuary. They could roam everywhere freely because no one is harming. The deers. Huh? Yeah, one screen is, disturbing me, and I cannot look at you. It's quite disturbing, so you can stop this. All right. So, yes, admin can do something for that. So it's very, very disturbing for me. Okay. So at this time, when the Buddha was, now on his traveling to the Migadaya or the deer park, and so on the way he met one Ajivaka. Ajivaka means one of the religious person belong to the religion of Ajivaka religion, right? So in the commentaries, these Ajivakas, have been explained as Ajivakoti Nagna Parivrajaka. Ajivakas are naked ascetics. naked ascetics. Which in India, in certain religions like Jainism and Ajivikism, they did not use clothes, no clothes. So they were naked ascetics. So Buddha met one Ajivaka between the Buddha Gaya, or the, where the Bodhi tree was located, and also between the city of Gaya and the Bodhi tree. On the way, he met this naked ascetic Ajivaka. So then, there is quite a long conversation between the Buddha and this this Ajivaka. So this Ajivaka looked at the Buddha, but Buddha looked quite, pleasant in his, character, his smile, and his the way he, appear is very serene and something like that. So, or definitely he understood, recognized the Buddha as an ascetic at that time, or a religious person. And then this man asked a question from the Buddha: friend, your faculties are clear. The color of your skin is pure and bright. Under whom have you gone forth, friend? Who is your teacher? Whose Dhamma do you profess? Because this person, this Ajivaka, he thought that Buddha is following the teaching of one or a certain religious master, right? After looking at the Buddha, he, looked very serene and calm and peaceful, and his skin looked very shiny and like that. So this person asked, whose teaching that you are following? And then actually the Buddha answered him that he is called Jina. The Buddha said that I am Jina. I am not following anyone else's teaching. I realized the truth by myself. The Jina means the victorious one. I am the victorious one. And he was on the way to the city of Kasi, of Varanasi, in order to set the motion, the wheel of the Dhamma, setting the motion, the wheel of the Dhamma, by beating the drum of the deathlessness to the blind. Actually, this is just the translation of one stanza. In this part that I am explaining to you cannot be found in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. This one can be found in the Mahāvagga of the Vinaya Pitaka, and also there is one sutta in the Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, which is called Ariya Pariyesana Sutta, the Noble Quest, the Sutta on Noble Quest, Ariya Pariyesana Sutta. So in this sutta and in the Vinaya Pitaka, in the Mahāvagga, this information can be found. Because in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, this part is not found. Buddha directly talked to the, the five ascetics, right? And he starts the preaching to them. This part is explained in other places. So anyway, actually the Buddha said that now I am the Jina and I am going to deliver the Dhamma. That means I am going to start the motion of the wheel, or set in motion the wheel of the Dhamma. And then I'm going to beat the drum of the deathlessness. Because after we follow the Dhamma, one day we can realize the truths to deathlessness. Amata. But amata means no death, deathlessness, right? So Amata Padang means Nirvana. Amata Padang means Nirvana. Amata Padang is equal to Nirvana. So Buddha said that I'm going to beat the drum of the deathlessness to the what world? Actually, the blind world. Because by that time there were no ascetics who realized the truth except the Buddha. And all the other ascetics or the religious people were unenlightened ones. So the whole world was a blind world without knowing the true Dhamma. Right? Now Buddha is going to actually light up the lamp for the whole world to get the light of Dhamma. That's why Aloko Buddha, right? In the Sutta, you say the light arose in the Buddha, right? So this light, Buddha is going to light up another candle, or light the way for the other people to show the paths, right? However, at that time, this man, right? And then, okay, it could be. This person, he was not ready to accept the Buddha's words. And then he said that it could be, yes, it could be. And he nodded his head, right? Shook his head. And then he said that, okay, I'm going to say bye. So Buddha also continued his journey to Varanasi, right? And then when the Buddha reached the place where the 5 ascetics were residing or living, actually they saw the Buddha was coming towards them from distance. And then now actually these 5 ascetics were unhappy with the Buddha because you know that they were very much interested in practicing self-modification or very rigorous, reclusive practice, or this ascetic practices. So they believe that actually only through the practice of self-modification, suffering one's body, one can realize the truth. That was their view. Not only the view of them, but many ascetics believe in that way. Still in India, there are ascetics who are practicing self-modification. So anyway, then these 5 ascetics talk to themselves, and they had the agreement. Okay, you see, the Siddhartha ascetic is coming towards us, being unable to realize the truth, because he gave up this ascetic practices and entered the luxurious life. Actually, they thought in that way, to eat food and to sleep properly and to have this kind of normal lifestyle. They thought that it's a luxurious way for them as monks. But monks actually, they should not eat. They must eat very little and suffer their body, eating actually like only one seed of the Bodhi tree for one day, right? Or whatever one can touch and take around, whatever falling down around them, maybe at least one of the leaf of a tree, right? This kind of very strong asceticism. So they thought, now being unable to realize the truth, he is coming to us again. We should not respect him, and we should not welcome him. We should not give water for him to wash his feet. Since he is coming from a royal family, we will set up only a chair for him to sit down. This is what they discuss. But however, after the Buddha, reached the place where they were, they immediately went to him and welcomed him, respected him, gave water to wash his feet, and like all those things, they couldn't I mean, keep as they discussed all those things, but they naturally they went there and they did all these things to welcome the Buddha. And after that, when the Buddha sat on the chair, then the Buddha said that, my friends, I realized the truth. Now I have attained to the realization, and please get ready to listen what I have realized. Right? Buddha talked to them, and but they did not ready. They didn't believe, and they talked to Buddha. Hello, friend. In the same way that they talked to him long ago, right? They talked to Buddha. Hello, friend. Then the Buddha said that you should not address me in this way now, right? In this way, calling me friend. And now I am the Tathagata. Now I am the Tathagata, the one who has gone to the truth realization. Tathagata, you know the term Tathagata in the Chinese Buddhism, you use this term Rulai, right? Rulai. But the meaning is a little bit different. In the Chinese word, this Rulai means thus come one. Thus come one. That means the one who came to the truths. But the Pali translation, Tatha Gata. Tatha means thus. Gata means gone. He is the thus gone one. That means to where? To Nibbana. So thus come one also, the one who came to Nirvana, or the one who went to Nirvana, or the realization. That's the meaning of Tathagata. So Buddha said that don't address me saying, calling me friend. In Pali, we call Avsovada, right? Just calling me as friend. The Tathagata is an accomplished one, a fully enlightened one. Listen, because the deathless has been attained. Yeah, the Buddha has attained to the deathlessness. I shall instruct you. Now I am going to teach you. I shall teach you the Dhamma. You will attain enlightenment if you practice according to my instruction. Then you will fulfill your purpose of being a recluse. Actually, here I summarize that statement of the Buddha. Buddha mentioned that now I am the Tathagata. I have realized the truth. Please get ready to listen to the Dhamma. If you listen to my Dhamma properly and practice it according to the teaching, definitely you will realize the truth and you will fulfill of your wish of being a monk. All right. The five ascetics did not believe in Buddha's attainment of enlightenment because they were on the view that any kind of spiritual attainment is possible through the practice of severe austerities. So this is what they believe. Because even now today, there are people, actually they like if monks suffered a lot. If monks do not wash their robe, having a dirty robe covering their body, or not having slippers or shoes, or just living under a small hut or whatever, the people like this kind of monks, and they think that these monks have more virtuous qualities than they are practicing Dhamma properly, like that. But according to Buddha's teaching, Buddha said that even there would be certain monks or ascetics who have been practicing, different types of practices for 100 years, but they have not attained any kind of spiritual quality. They have anger, delusion, hatred, and all those things, even though practicing for a long time, being a very, ascetic, right? But Buddha's teaching is here that if a monk, even staying in the temple or wherever, if he practices the Dhamma properly, his life is much more virtuous and worthy than the monk who practiced 100 years of asceticism without gaining any spiritual quality. Understand? So, however, this was the idea of Indian society. Even these 5 ascetics were not ready to accept the Buddha's enlightenment. So finally, the Buddha questioned the 5 ascetics as follows. Buddha actually, according to the Mahabharata and this Untitled Sutta, Buddha mentioned that 3 times. 3 times I asked them to listen to me and pay attention to me because I am the Buddha. I attained the truths, but they didn't, ready to accept my words. And then the Buddha asked a question from them. Friends, do you admit that I have never addressed you in this way before? And Buddha asked a question. Have I ever addressed you in this way? Or do you accept I have never addressed you in this way? And then the ascetic said, yes, venerable or friend, yes, you never talk to us in this way. And then the Buddha said that, please listen to me and pay attention. And, I realized the truths and then I am going to teach you the Dhamma. Because this, and now, then the Buddha started to teach the Sutta. Now teaching begins. Without telling anything, directly, because Buddha knew what was that they were interested in, especially these 5 ascetics, and towards, to which that they were, focusing their practice. So the Buddha directly explained to them or talked to them because these 2 extremes should not be followed by one who has gone forth into homelessness. Very, very directly, the Buddha talked to them. Yeah, monks, there are 2 things, 2 extreme practices which should not be practiced or followed by the monks or the people who have entered the monastic life, homelessness. Right? What are these 2 extremes? The pursuit of sensual happiness in sensual pleasure, which is low, vulgar, the way of worldlings, ignoble, and profitless. These 5 qualities mentioned under the Kama Sukhallikana Yoga, sensual desire, actual, especially the excesses, sensual desire, right? So, these 5 things in Pali, hino, gammo, potujjaniko, anariyo, anatta sanghito. Whenever we recite the sutta in Pali, you listen to this, 5 factors. Those who practice this excessive sensual desire or Kama Sukhallikana Yoga, and indulgence in the sensual desire. What are they? Hino, they are very low, vulgar. And then hino gammu, potujjaniko, the way of world, ignoble, anaryo, anatta sanghito, profitless. So here Buddha use the harsh words, especially low, vulgar, the practice of worldlings. These 3 words did not use for the self-mortification, the second one. For the first one, there is a reason for that, because certain people in the time of the Buddha, they believe that there is no any result of good or bad karma. Even you practice any kind of bad or good, you may not get the result in the next life, because after this life, no life is there. They talk about Uchchedavada. Uchchedavada. Right? Annihilation of the life after this. So no life after this. No karma, no rebirth. So they say that whatever that you want to do, you can do. Yeah, even borrowing from someone else, you can eat the best food and just live this life. Nothing to worry about the next life because there is no life. So because of this, and when people listen to this teaching and people misunderstand, and they may tend to do bad or practice bad. So Buddha criticized this practice, right? Low, vulgar, and the way of worldly. So this is not a good practice because there are certain Shramana category, and we call them actually Lokayatavada, or that means they believe only the things in this world, actually no Dhamma and nothing is there. So only this physical world and things are there. Actually, there is nothing after this life. So next one, the Buddha explained that the pursuit of self-mortification, which is painful, ignoble, and profitless. So you see here, the Buddha used a special word, tukko, anaryo anatta samvito. Tukko means painful, right? Practice of self-mortification, actually it is a lot of pain for the body. It is painful. And then anaryo, it is ignoble and profitless. So these are the three terms used for self-mortification. But Buddha Buddha criticized the self-indulgence of kama sukhallikana yoga, and he did not criticize the self-indulgence, self-mortification, but he showed the, weak points of the self-mortification or, suffering the body. All right. And then what was the Buddha's way? Without approaching to those two extreme ways, the Tathagata has awakened to the middle way, which gives rise to vision, which gives rise to knowledge, which leads to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to Nibbana. And Chappu Mudapadi, Jnana Mudapadi, Vicca Udapadi, and so on. So we Alopa Udapadi, and like that, we recite this in Pali, the same thing. So here, actually, everything, there are several similar words. The chakku, the vision arises in the Buddha. Vision means the Dhamma vision, the correct vision, and which gives rise to knowledge. Actually, this vision, this practice gives to right knowledge. Chakku mudapadi jnana, right? Jnana mudapadi vidya, and then it leads to the knowledge again. We call it vidya. In Sanskrit, we can call it vidya, right? Knowledge. And then it led to enlightenment, right? So in this way, Buddha explained that this is the practice that I followed. And then he showed the Noble Eightfold Paths. But today, I may not explain to you the Noble Eightfold Path. One day I will give you a talk on the 37 enlightenment factors, and during that time, I can give you more details on the Noble Eightfold Paths, right? Okay. And now we will go to after explaining the Noble Eightfold Paths, actually, then Buddha went to the Four Noble Truths. The noble truth of suffering. Talking to them, Buddha mentioned that this is something that we have to understand. What is that? Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, illness is suffering, death is suffering, union with unpleasant people is suffering, separation from dear ones is suffering, not to get what one wants is suffering, 5 aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. That means pancha upadana kanda. Through this pancha kanda, we attach to the things in the external world. So everything is suffering. And the Buddha mentioned that in short, everything is suffering actually. So this is the most important part that I'm going to explain, referring to the first noble truths. That means the noble truth of suffering is to be understood. Understand? Now, when I explain these 4 noble truths, you can understand noble truth of suffering. The noble truth of suffering actually to be understood. And then the Buddha mentioned that it has been fully understood by him, right? Buddha mentioned that. So, you have to understand that there is the suffering or the noble truth of suffering. And then you have to, the first one is you have to know, have the knowledge of the suffering, and then you have to understand it, and then as the last part of it, you have to realize it, to be understood by yourself. Actually, this is the practical parts, right? So, then the Buddha said that I understood the noble truth of suffering. Now we will go to the second one, the noble truth of arising of suffering. So actually, noble truth of arising suffering means the craving. So Buddha mentioned that it is craving and it leads to renewed existence, to rebirth, accompanied by delight and lust. That means having desire and lust, seeking delight here and there. You are always looking for pleasurable things, right? Indulgence. That is craving for sensual pleasure, craving for existence, and craving for not becoming. So in this, noble truth of arising of suffering, Buddha mentioned that there is craving, and there are 3 types of craving. So craving for sensual desire and craving for existence. That means some people want to reborn in happy places, then attach very much for the next births, right? Craving for existence. Also, in order to experience happiness, and craving for not becoming. That means because of frustration or something, they want to die, and they don't want to be reborn because this life is suffering. They have that kind of, kind of desire. It is also kind of desire, but this desire is different from us. I mean, we also have the desire to, not to reborn. That means to realize the truths. That is why we practice. But these people, this category, without practicing, because of painful experience or whatever, they don't want to be reborn. They don't want to have rebirths. So that is a kind of craving here. However, you know about it, and then what you have to do, the noble truth of arising of suffering to be abundant. This is very important. The noble truth of suffering is to be understood, right? The noble truth of arising of suffering is to be abundant. What is here to be abundant? Craving. Craving is not good for anyone else. So you have to cut down craving. Actually here, in this, the second noble truth, craving is expressed. So then the Buddha said that you have to recognize this craving and it is not good for you. Then you have to abandon it. Actually, you have to get rid of craving. Right? Then the Buddha said that he has abandoned it. Right? He has abandoned it. So the noble truth of arising of suffering has been abandoned by the Buddha. All right. And then the noble truth of cessation of suffering. The number 3. It is the remainderless fading away and cessation of that same craving, the giving up and relinquishing of it. So you give up, you relinquish from it, and then freedom is there. You can get the freedom from there and non-reliance on it, and you may not attach to it. So this is very important. That means actually here, with the cutting down of the craving, you will experience these things. Actually, this craving brings you from life to life in this samsara. So that is why remain restlessly. That means without remaining. So we cut down it completely, and then there is no more craving. Actually, when there is no more craving, you will experience freedom. And you may not depend on the craving or anything else. Right? This is the complete freedom. Actually, in the third noble truths, the cessation of suffering, it talks about the nirvana, the realization of nirvana. So there is a fruit. And then what you have to do, you have to realize it, right? The Buddha has realized it, or the noble truth of cessation of suffering has been realized by the Buddha. And now we will go to, then suffering is there, we know the arising of suffering, and then we know the cessation of suffering. And in order to achieve this cessation of suffering, what we should do? There must be a path, or there must be a practice to achieve this third noble truth. So then the Buddha said that this is the noble eightfold path here for you to practice in order to attain the cessation of suffering. So it is to be developed, the noble eightfold path, starting from right view or right understanding, right thought, and the right words, actions, and so on. Right? So this is quite interesting thing. So then the Buddha showed the noble eightfold path. This is the path to attain the enlightenment. In regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, the true knowledge, and light. And then the Buddha said, when I followed this, these things arose in me, right? Chakku udapadi, jnanam udapadi, panya udapadi, vicca udapadi, aloko udapadi, right? I did not experience this throughout my samsaric life, and even within this very life, while I was practicing as an ascetic, especially when I was practicing various types of ascetic practices and all the other practices. But when I entered the noble eightfold paths, I realized the truths. So the vision arose in me, knowledge arose in me, wisdom arose in me, the true knowledge arose in me, and the light arose in me. That means I completely realized the truth. I cut down all the defilements after practicing the noble eightfold paths. So actually in this sutta, it says that evam tiparivattam dvadasakara yatha bhuta jnana dassana. So there is a way to realize it in 3 phases and 12 aspects whenever we take these 4 noble truths. Tiparivattam dvadasakara. So tiparivatta means the three circles. 3 circles. Here the word has 3 phases, but you can take as 3 circles. So 3 circles here actually is very interesting. Knowing the truth, and then you practice it, and then you realize it. right? So especially there are three terms in it in Pali: Satya-jnana, Chitta-jnana, Kata-jnana. But in Sanskrit we call Satya-jnana, Krutya-jnana, Kruta-jnana. Satya-jnana, Krutya-jnana, Kruta-jnana. In Pali we call Satya-jnana, Chitta-jnana, Kata-jnana. What are these? So what are these three circles or three phases? First one, having the knowledge of each truth. For instance, you have the knowledge of the first truth, the noble truth of suffering. Before you practice or whatever, you should know what it is. So knowing it is called Satya-jnana. That is the first phase. The second phase is having the knowledge of the task to be. For instance, I taught you that the noble truth of suffering is to be understood. And the second one, the noble truth of arising of suffering is to be abundant. Understand? And the number four, the noble truth, number three, the noble truth of cessation of suffering is to be realized. And number four, the noble truth of the way leading to the cessation of suffering is to be practiced or developed. So these are the activities that you have to do regarding the four knowledge. Understand? So this is quite interesting. So you know it, and then you know what to do with each and every noble truth. And then Krutanyana or Katanyana already having the knowledge of accomplishment. That means, for instance, the Buddha, after he recognizing and practicing this thing, he realized the truth. So that means for each and every noble truth, so you have done the part that you have to do regarding it, regarding what you have to do, right? So these three are called three phases. Do you get that one? Yeah, if you don't get, and maybe during the Q&A session, we can discuss about it again. So now we will see the 12 aspects. Now, actually, you know that there are four noble truths. So for each noble truth, you have three phases. And when you multiple these three phases with four noble truths, it becomes 12. So that is why we call 12 aspects. 3 phases and 12 aspects. Quite interesting. So now the Buddha says like this: so long, bhikkhus, as my knowledge and vision of these four noble truths, as they really are in their 3 phases and 12 aspects, was not thoroughly purified in this way. And before I entered the Noble Eightfold Path to practice this Dhamma, earlier, actually, I did not realize it. I did not get the true knowledge. But now, what happened? But when my knowledge and vision of these four noble truths, as they really are in their 3 phases and 12 aspects, was thoroughly purified in this way, then I claim to have knowledge to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment in this world with Maras, Devas, and whoever live in this world, on earth or in the sky. So then the Buddha explained that actually, after I came to know about these four noble truths, after I practiced depending on the requirement for each and every noble truth, I realized the truth. Then I could, attain the full enlightenment. I could get the vision and so on. And now my knowledge cannot be surpassed by anyone else in this world, either by a human being or a divine being or the Mara or the Brahma or whoever. That means I have unsurpassed knowledge. the accomplishment of the full enlightenment. So this is what the Buddha explained. The knowledge and vision arose in me, unshakable, is the liberation of mind. So this is a very important. The knowledge and vision arose in me, unshakable, is the liberation of mind. My mind is completely liberated. So Buddha said, Apuppame cheto vimutti. This is beautiful. One thing I will explain to you today. You know, I like the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta more than any other sutta from my young age. I'm telling you the truth, son. I'm not allowed to tell lie. You know, as a mother, last time I told you. Believe me. So, while I was in Sri Lanka, and even now, when I recite the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, I recite it from the whole heart. Because I like this, because this is the very first sutta the Buddha delivered. He started his teaching, and also the most important thing here, he explained the Four Noble Truths and so on. So whenever I recite the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, this part, my body hair always rise up. I get goosebumps. I'm telling you the truth. Yesterday, actually, when I tried to, complete this part, and when I read the things again and again, it happened to me. Even I felt like it's almost crying, because this is the very first teaching of the Buddha. This is the very first teaching of the Buddha. After Buddha explained his, realization of experience, he said that, Apuppame cheto vimutti. Now, my mind is unshaken. My mind is unshaken. It is never be shaken again. That means I have come to the highest status, full calmness of my mind. And then Buddha said, Apuppame cheto vimutti ayamantima jat nati dani punabhava. Ayamantima jati nati dani punabhava. This is my last birth. There is no more births, renews existence. I don't have any more births. This is my last birth. So, when I recite this part, actually, it can change everything in my mind. I get a lot of emotion. Because Buddha, we know that throughout his samsaric life, he tried to, reach this level. So he, claimed that he entered this level. So we have a lot of faith in the Buddha. It doesn't mean that with the blind faith, or we know what is faith in Buddhism already, right? And you are the one who is having true faith in the Buddha. So when we have true faith in the Buddha, you feel it. And this is the point that it changed everything. Changed everything in this world. Understand? And for the first time, Buddha declares his complete knowledge of his realization to the 5 ascetics. Now we will see the success of the Buddha's teaching. This is what the Blessed One said. And then elated. Actually, 5 ascetics were elated. The bhikkhus of the group of 5 delighted. And even they delighted in the Blessed One's statement. After listening to the Buddha's words, they became very happy. They delighted. And while this discourse was being spoken, there arose in the Venerable Kondanya the dust-free, stainless vision of the Dhamma. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. Actually, when the Buddha completed his first Dhamma talk, Venerable Kondanya realized the truth. Right? And what he realized, whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. Yang kincha samudaya dhamma sabbantang nirodha dhamma. You know that the Buddhist teaching is that everything, comes to this world based on causes and conditions. Actually, he understood that whatever comes to being based on causes and conditions, and they disappear because they are sankata dhammas, they are conditioned dhammas. Conditioned dhammas disappear and they're subject to change. Our body itself is a conditioned dhamma. That is why we feel suffering. Our body changes, right? And then we get suffering. And then we go to next birth. And again it arises. Right. But nirvana is the unconditioned dhamma. That is, it is without condition. Right? We call it asankata dhamma. Asankata dhamma. Sankata dhamma means conditioned dhamma. Nirvana is the asankata dhamma. And Venerable Kondanya, actually not Venerable, the ascetic Kondanya, he realized the truth. But actually this realization is just only attaining to the first sainthood, we call Sotapanna level, extreme winner level. Even it is not the second level, once returner, or third level, non-returner, or arahantship, only the first level. Now you can understand this is the very first discourse of the Buddha. After Buddha delivered this one, and out of these 5 ascetics, only one ascetic could realize it, could understood it, actually he was the one who really realized it. Others understood it, but he realized it. That means he could attain the level of Sotapanna, extreme winner level. Right? The other 4 ascetics did not attain the Sotapanna level. And then the Buddha had to deliver the same sutta again and again for them, according to Mahavagga in the Vinaya Pitaka, and according to this Arya Pariyasana Sutta, Buddha explained. Next day, only 3 ascetics will go to collect food, and then 2-3 of us, including myself, the Buddha, stay, and then he deliver the things again and again to these 2 ascetics, and then others come with the food, and then they subsist on the food, 3 months collected. Next day, another 2 will go, and then the others listen to Buddha again, right? Like that, Buddha had to spend several days for these 5 ascetics to explain this truth, and after explaining it for several days, actually 5 ascetics would attain the Sotapanna level. And arahantship came to them later after listening to the Untitled Sutta. Untitled Sutta, the Sutta of no having characteristics. That means substantial characteristics. So that part, that is another part. And now we will see the last, slide for the Dhamma. Dhamma will cannot be stopped by anyone. Now, in the very beginning, we learned that actually Buddha started to move this Dhamma wheel forward, right? And then after that, in the sutta, it is mentioned that this unsurpassed wheel of the Dhamma has been set in motion by the Blessed One, which cannot be stopped by any ascetic, Brahmi, or Deva, Mara, Brahmo, any one of the world. That means actually the Buddha started the wheel of Dhamma to move forward. Still it is moving. Still it is moving. He started it to move 2,650 years ago or something like that. 2,600 years, long ago. And still it is moving. That is why you and me are here. We are also, actually more than me, you at Ti-Sarana Buddhist Association give a kind of power, for this Dhamma wheel to move forward. So the king, King Asoka of India, he said that I want this Dhamma wheel to move forward as long as the sun and the moon exist in this world. Understand? So this is how the strong Buddhists believe this. So you, as a small community here, as Ti-Sarana Buddhist Association, give power for this Dhamma wheel to move. That power is not always, having Dhamma talks or whatever. You are helping Bhantes, attending Bhantes, listening to them, and, spread the Dhamma, and let the people come to Ti-Sarana and listen to Dhamma. You have various other performances, meritorious days, patina, whatever. And then you are helping Bhantes to do their own activities in Sri Lanka, and so on. So they are in the name of the Dhamma, we do all those things. Understand? So you give actually not a small power, you give a very big power for this Dhamma wheel to move. And then the Buddha said that this Dhamma, the moving of this Dhamma wheel cannot be stopped by anyone else in this world. There will be various, the attacks or whatever happen. It started from India, even until now, the things happen around the world. But Buddha's teaching cannot be stopped by anyone else. It will be moved until this world exists. So that is why this very word is very important. The last word that I am going to teach you, in the sutta you may see a word, appativattiya. Etam bhagavata Varanasya nisapatane migadaye anuttaram Dhammacakkappavattana Appativattiya. When the Buddha delivered this Dhamma in the, Varanasi, in the city, in the deer park, this Dhamma, the wheel that he set to, move, it is appativattiya. It is irreversible. This Pali term is important. Actually, instead of using cannot be stopped, this term is more appropriate. When you go the literal meaning of this term appativattiya, that means it is irreversible. Now Buddha let the Dhamma wheel move forward. No one can reverse it. No one can reverse it. It's still moving. It is still moving forward. And then I hope that one day you will be able to, realize it completely, and then you will get the meaning of what is the meaning of this Dhammacakkappavattana. Understand? All right. Then thank you very much. I'll stop from here. Actually, I think today also, because as Sister Kanchana suggested, of course, within 1 hour, it is not easy to. Yeah. Maybe next day I will tell you that I will talk for 1.5 hours. Anyway, thank you very much for your listening, and I hope that you have received something. But certain part I had to skip. However, when I give talks related to the other Dhamma next time, and we can talk about this Noble Eightfold Paths and so on. So, yes, brothers and sisters, yeah. So, if you have any question now, depending on the time.
Thank you so much, Bhante Chandawimala, for the very spirited Dhamma talk. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, we have also just pinged you via Zoom and Facebook. So if you do have any question, you can actually post the question directly to this link. At this moment, we already have some questions. So perhaps, Bhante, I will present it now, and maybe you can help to address. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, sure.
So the question is, Bhante, how can lay people like us gain enlightenment without going forth into homelessness?
Yes, of course. Dhamma is for both monastics and lay community, right? So, Dhamma can be practiced by lay people as well. Yeah, of course. Why not? You can follow the Dhamma depending on your, the situation. and observing 5 precepts or 8 precepts occasionally, being virtuous, and also practicing meditation and practicing the Dhamma. Actually, it is not only meditation, so many teachings are there for us to be virtuous, right? Us to be virtuous. So we can follow the Dhamma, and of course, we will be more closer to the Dhamma, even though we may not, if we are not able to attain enlightenment within this life. So I will give you a simile. I'm not sure whether I have given this simile earlier or not. So there is one sutta in the Sutta Nipata, I think the Muni Sutta or something in the Sutta Nipata. Sutta Nipata is one of the small book found in the Buddhaka Nikaya, the smaller collection. There are 4 books there. One book is Sutta Nipata. There is simile over there. Both peacock and the swan can fly, right? Peacock and swan can fly. So here the swan is compared to the monk. Peacock is compared to a lay people. Peacock is so beautiful, attractive, having long tail, beautiful, and dancing and all that. The peacock. But swan is just floating in the water. And his body is light. He can fly very high and also very fast, and faster than the peacock. The peacock, actually, he has a big body, including very big tail. Because of that, he cannot fly very high. He just can fly. He can fly, but not very high and very far. In the same way, lay people, with all these duties and responsibilities, with your family, the taking care of children, the parents, the brothers and sisters, and so on, and also doing a lot of other things, various activities. While doing all those things, you have to practice the Dhamma. So it doesn't mean that you cannot realize the truth. Actually, it is the same way that the monks practice. Because, there are certain lay people, while even living at homes, they practice the Dhamma. Actually, they are refraining from a lot of household matters, like family matters, or living together as husband and wife. These people we call anagarikas. And their life is almost same as monks, not having the family life. They live separately. So there are people like that. So don't try to be anagarikas while your family is there. So, but whenever you get freedom, right? Whenever you are free from all the duties, responsibilities, of course, you can be like a monk, right? It is not always required to be a monk. Even being an anagarika person, you can practice the Dhamma, or just as a good Buddhist. Of course, good Buddhists, actually, they are the ones who are, supporting to move this Dhamma way, and your contribution is great, and you also can practice the Dhamma, and then, of course, one day or other, you too can attain the Nirvana. Yeah, this is what we should say. All right, yeah, I hope that it is clear.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Yes.
So the next question is,
you can read it if you cannot get that.
just a moment, Bhante.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just a moment. I'm going to show the screen. screen
for sure.
again. Just a moment.
Otherwise, the next question.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question is just present again. Okay. The next question is thanks Bhante for the talk. In Mahayana tradition, there are 3 turnings of wheels in addition to the first turning by Gautama Buddha on 4 noble truths. Second being establishment of Mahayana with Naga Jana, and third about everyone has Buddha's nature.
Yeah.
Are there something similar in Theravada tradition?
Of course. So nice question. Thank you for very much for asking this question. Of course, yeah, you can say like that because this is because of your belief and your, it is coming down from the tradition, generation to generation. Yes, according to the Mahayana tradition, it is said that actually with the introduction of the teaching by Venerable Nagarjuna after something like 500 years of, hiding this Mahayana Dhamma, so he introduced it, taking Dhamma from the dragon world, right, to the human world, something like that. Lonsu Pusa. So, yeah, you can say like that because it's a kind of, according to tradition, it says that, yeah, he was the one who, brought out this Dhamma again from another place or, according to tradition from the dragon world. But, if you say that Nagarjuna after, realizing this Dhamma in another way, like his main teaching is the, Shunyata Darshan, or the philosophy of emptiness, right? Philosophy of emptiness based on the, what we call this dependent origination, Patita Samutpada. So you can say like that, there's no harm. And even you can say that, yes, the third one is about the Buddha nature, because according to Mahayana tradition, each and everyone has Buddha nature. You have to recognize it. Actually, it is like, what's like a flower bud of lotus, and it is there. Then you have to let it blossom. That means you have to recognize your ability of realizing the Dhamma, of practicing the Dhamma, of following the Dhamma as a follower of the Buddha. And then according to Mahayana tradition, each and everyone, should try for the Buddhahood, right? That is why you have to recognize this Buddha nature within you and, continue your practice. So, of course, you can say like that. It is also a way of, entering the Dhamma path to practice. So, there is no problem. In Theravada tradition, in the Theravada, we received Buddhism in the 3rd century BC as a result of the King Ashoka's Dhamma missionary service. Arahant Mahinda and his group, came to Sri Lanka. We respect Arahant Mahinda as the second Buddha. And after that, actually in Sri Lanka, we faced a lot of difficulties, degrading the Buddha's teaching or the Dhamma or Buddha Sāsana in the 1st century BC. And at that time, the monks came together and then recited the Tipitaka. And then they wrote the Tipitaka for the first time in the world on ola leaves in Sri Lanka, in one of the temples in somewhere in the Kandy area in the central Sri Lanka, which is called Mahāthera. Right? So that one also we can consider as it is another origin of the, turning the wheel of the Dhamma. Right? In this way, actually, there are certain people and, certain incident we can say that, giving more power or second power or third power for the Buddha's teaching. In India also, after Buddha passed away, the first Buddhist council and the second Buddhist council and the third Buddhist council. During this time, Buddhism, again, what we call this, it came to more life. after this effort of this council, Buddhist council, it's a revolution, a kind of revolution within the Buddhism. So, of course, if you have this idea traditionally in the Mahayana tradition, of course, we have to respect it, and there is no problem at all, and there is no, any what we call something going against Buddhism. Yeah, it's a very good question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Yes.
We will have the last question. So let me flash the last question. So the last question is, Bhante, did the Buddha realize all these 12 aspects all in the third watch of the night of enlightenment? Or was it a gradual realization culminating in the completion of the knowledge on that night?
Yes, of course it is mentioned, and actually in that night Buddha realized the truth. Yeah, Buddha knew that, when he entered the Noble Eightfold Path and when he practiced it, and he knew the suffering is there, because other people, they did a lot of other things to, diminish or to cut down or refrain from the suffering. But the Buddha, he thought that it is something to be understood. And then how this suffering is coming because of craving. And what to do with craving? You have to abandon it. And that it is not like, within one moment all those things happen. It's a kind of long-term practice. And finally, he realized the truth, like cutting down all the defilements. Actually, we call Buddha attained enlightenment with the dawning of this knowledge of the destruction of the all defilement, the knowledge of the destruction of all the defilements. Asavakkaya jnana, right? Asava means the defilements, so outflows. Kaya means to cut down, jnana means knowledge. So Buddha had this knowledge with the fully enlightenment. So, yes, you can say in that way. Of course, it's as a result of the long-term practice. Yeah, these three aspects and 12 phases. And of course, 12 phases, when you take the three aspects, 12 phases already completed. Yeah, actually these three aspects, basically. Yeah, because Buddha should recognize the first, what is the noble truth of suffering, and then he had to work on it, and the other is the result. Actually, that other is the result. So actually, the working on it is the most important. What he should do, the cutting down his craving, that is the last part. Yeah, others work and cut down with this all, craving, the defilement, and then he got the Asavakkaya jnana, and then he became fully enlightened person. Okay, is that clear?
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Yes.
For your guidance. Sadhu, 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 Bhante.
Okay, thank you very much. So then we are going to conclude today's session. So before that, I would say every other day, actually, I had to bring my computer from my room here to talk to you, but it was quite heavy. And then I was expecting to buy, this camera, the webcam. So Sister Kanchana knew it after because last week I gave my talk from my room, right? Dormitory over there. Then I had to blur the background with the instruction of Bhadra Chintaka. So, however, they came to know about this. And yesterday I got a very nice camera, webcam from Bhadra Jyotia, our president, and Sister Kanchana. Actually, they helped me to buy it and bring here. I came to know that Sister Udari May, right? and she contributed for this. And thank you very much. I wish all of you to get the complete knowledge and to realize the Dhamma. And this is also giving power to move the Dhamma. Thank you very much. Now
Thank you, Bhante.
yes, we are
Yeah,
going.
so before we end the session, maybe we can now also perform the transference of merits of our cultivation today to all celestial beings and as well as all our past family, relatives, friends, and all sentient beings.
Yes, first we will transfer merit for the divine departed relatives. Whoever passed away from your families, you think about your ancestors, your parents, brothers, sisters, or whoever have passed away, your friends, and also our Bhante Jnanarama. May all of them rejoice in this merit, and may all of them have a happy samsaric journey. Finally, all of them attain the bliss of nirvana. Say sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
and also today you all together perform this meritorious deed. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm very happy to share the Dhamma knowledge with you. And yes, I just do it, out of my, the compassion, heart, and kindness, and whatever. I don't expect anything from this. Just only the sharing knowledge with you. That's all what I expect. So thank you very much for all your effort, and the Bhantes, Bhante Ratansiri and Bhante Anand, for your support for the people here, and also the committee members of the Ti-Sarana Buddhist Association, and those who are working with this web group, media team, Bhante Chintaka, Sister Kantana, and the other one today is missing. I forgot his name, and all together, actually, this is a collective work, good karma, so that everyone can make some, merit. So I wish you all the very best and good luck. May all your good wishes and ambitions come true. And finally, may all of you attain the bliss of nirvana. Say sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Now we transfer merit for the divine base. May the divine base rejoice in this merit. And may they shower upon blessings towards you, your family members, and so on. May all of you get the blessings of the God, the divine base. And finally, may all the divine beings attain the bliss of nirvana. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Recite the Akasattha verses. Akasattha Buddha Devana Mahindika Punyantam Anumoditva Chiram Rakkantu Lokasasanam. Akasattha Jagummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantam Anumoditva Chiram Rakkantu Desanam. Akasattha Jagummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantam Anumoditva Chiram Rakkantu Mam Param. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we recite. We already transfer for the departed relatives.
Sure, Bhante.
Yes.
So, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu again, Bhantes, and to all brothers and sisters, thank you for joining the session with us today. If you wish to revisit today's session by Venerable Dr. Chandawimala, you can view the video on our Facebook page at Ti-Sarana SG. Do look out for the topic of the next session by Venerable Dr. Chandawimala on our Facebook page. The next Saturday, Sister Dr. Ng will be conducting Sutta meditation series from 2 to 4 p.m. This will be delivered via Zoom and Facebook, so stay tuned for the details on our Facebook page as well. We welcome all to join the session. May the blessings of the Triple Gem always be with you, and may all be safe, healthy, well, and happy. See everyone soon.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you, Bhante, and thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you,
Yes.
Brother Chintaka.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the one who had this kind of, shaky the screen, and it's like a fire rising, fire flames, and yeah. this because I'm looking at you, not the screen. Huh?